Welcome to the Korea Pro Podcast, your weekly guide to understanding the most pressing and complicated developments shaping South Korea. We're your hosts, Jungmin Kim,
John Lei,
and Junha Park of Korea Pro.
Go beyond headlines as we explain not just what happened, but also what really matters and why it matters.
If you monitor South Korea for work or just trying to keep up, you're in the right place.
This is the Korea Pro Podcast.
Hello, listeners, and welcome back to another episode of the Korea Pro Podcast. It is now Thursday, July 30th. It's a bit before 5 p.m., and I'm your co-host, John.
Jungmin.
And Junha.
And this week, well, the markets, they had a bit of a, shall we say, a bit of a roller coaster.
Stumble and tumble and rumble. So it went under, KOSPI went under 6,000, almost 5,500, it seemed.
Well, the good news is that President Lee did pledge that the KOSPI would be at the 5,000, and so the president's pledge is still very much on the go.
So he did keep the promise.
Yeah. Everything's all great.
Yeah. So he did not make further promises on even further KOSPI. So that might have been a good call on his end.
Under promise, over deliver.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what the president has been doing, and things have been going exactly according to plan.
And speaking of plan, it seems like the travel abroad, it seems like it was planned. Maybe not just because of that, but it was over the weekend. Lee Jae Myung went to San Francisco to meet the tech giants. I'm guessing that the presidential office, like they wouldn't say it out loud, they would have wanted to see it giving a positive impact on Monday when the market opened again. It did not. And that was despite a record high Q2 profit announcement by SK Hynix, more like SK Hynix.
It was also that was pretty good, actually. SK Hynix did have a very amazing second quarter returns. Their returns were like 537% year on year. So that was massive. And over the weekend, as you said, when he went to San Francisco, the South Korean the South Korean companies, as well as American ones, they announced a deal that came up to about a $950 billion.
They like multiple deals as well.
Massive. And so, that's pretty much what we've seen over the past year. And especially at the beginning of the first 6 months of this year, if you looked at the KOSPI, people were like, look, it's a bird, it's a plane. No, it's Superman. And, it just kept going up and up and up.
And so there were a lot of panic buyers actually looking at it going up.
There was FOMO, there was panic buying, and people who were buying single leverage stocks.
And like P2, getting loans out to actually purchase stocks.
Yeah,
well.
Exactly. It was really great. But the reason why we've not seen that, why we've seen the divorce between the corporate profit margins and earnings and their valuations is because the markets are all still very much worried about how much money actually goes into these kinds of investments, and they're worried about future earnings. And so, right now, the market's basically going, wah, 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 wah.
Yeah. And this is completely sort of different from financial markets related aspects, but future earnings related expectations, it tends to move things a lot in South Korea in general, not just the market. But remember when Kinu did a survey, this is completely separate, but it's military actually, when Trump was about to be elected. The fear of U.S. abandonment was the highest in years ever. And it was not after Trump was actually elected. It actually went down. So future fears, it actually does drive people's motivations. And it seems like that's what happened in the market as well. But aside from the initial expectation having been so high with SK Hynix ADR and stuff, what are the other potential causes of this happening?
Well, as far as the causes go, that's really the big one. And so as far as causes go, I'm not really thinking about that so much, but rather I'm thinking about what the president has been saying since even before he entered into office. Even before he became president, he was saying that one of the things that he wants to do for the South Korean economy, big picture, is to make people invest less in property and invest more in equities. But with the way that the equity market is going right now, with a lot of people losing money and actually owing money to their brokerages because of the ETF valuation just tanking, that's going to cause a lot of people to second guess exactly just how much more they wish to invest in the stock market.
And can we talk about the leverage products for a bit? Because that was controversial from the start.
Oof, okay, so the thing about ETFs is that because they are, as the name suggests, leveraged within a single stock, when that company is doing well, the people who have invested in those ETFs can get a lot of money. But just as they can earn a lot of money when the stocks don't do very well, because they're over leveraged, they start tanking as well. And so, sure, the government completely greenlit the ETFs to be sold, and this was in May. And 7 weeks later, when all of these massive losses were stacking up, the government said, oh, okay, we're not going to cancel this. We're not going to abolish this market, but no more new listings, no more new ads, and we're going to increase the number of minimum buy-in that's necessary. So, yeah, it's been a cluster.
So something to keep a very close eye on, because it seems like this is the top agenda for the presidential office to monitor right now. Let's move on to demographics. There was a census result.
Yeah, it was the population and housing specifically. So as far as the population goes, there wasn't that big of a surprise as to macro numbers. The number of Koreans shrunk, but the population itself remained rather flat. It did grow a little bit, but overall, big picture, it remained flat. And that was because of an increase in the number of foreigners who are now residing in the country. And
rather than births.
Rather than births. There are a lot more immigrants coming into the country, which is helping to keep the number afloat. And so one of the interesting things that I saw in those numbers was that previously, whenever we looked at the number of foreign residents immigrating into the country, it was mostly Chinese citizens, perhaps of Korean ethnic heritage, but Chinese nationals nonetheless. But that number has actually shrunk. Now, the biggest number of foreigners that are living in Korea are Vietnamese. So that's a very interesting change in the social fabric of this country.
Is that a new thing, like a new thing?
It's not new, but it does put an official number on things. And so with all of these Vietnamese coming in, they're moving into the neighborhoods where you see factories, where there's a lot of manufacturing still going on. And so that sort of thing is also happening very much. But also another very interesting thing about the census is that, it confirmed what everyone has already long suspected. There are fewer people living with their families now. There are more people who are living alone. If we go by specific numbers, they're like 2.16 people on average per household now. And so what does that mean? That means that, oh no, the population is shrinking or remaining stable, depending on how we're looking at it, but the demand for housing is still high because, people aren't living close together, so you need more housing units.
Yeah.
But the number of housing units that people are still talking about, the ones that people are still really concentrated on, are apartments.
Right. And those are not fit for 1인 가구, the one-person household.
Exactly. And with an increase in the number of two-person households and also an increasing in the number of pensioners who are living alone, they don't really need apartment units that are big enough for 4 people. But the market is still fixated on this traditional aparte that people have been talking about for decades. And so there's this real mismatch between what the market is providing and what the demographics are telling us right now.
And what are some of the policies that Lee administration has been pushing for or should have but did not yet?
This is a whole can of worms. Okay, so to be fair to the president, the president has been taking a lot of policies from both the progressives and the conservative predecessors that he's had. On the progressive side, he's been really trying to clamp down on demand. We've seen banks reduce the number of mortgage loans. We've seen the FSC calling in banks and complaining to them whenever they have an increase in the number of mortgage loans that are being issued. And so there has been a significant movement in the number of mortgage loans that are available to people. It's less now. But because there is still a high demand for real estate, although people can't access their mortgage loans, prices are still going up. And it's not just in this whole metropolitan area, it's also in the neighborhood areas outside, because when the government restricted a lot of new construction or new purchases in the really expensive areas, people just took their money and invested in outside areas.
Yeah.
And so what we've seen is an increase in prices practically everywhere in the greater Seoul metropolitan area. So less access to loans, increasing prices. So who does this help? It helps the people who are already rich, and really does not help at all the people who are, earning a salary or just wanted to start a family.
Newlyweds.
They're all shit out of luck.
Yeah.
And so what this government is doing right now, the Lee Jae Myung administration, to be fair, they really want to divorce real estate from people's wealth and savings. And there's a lot of good arguments to make for that. But because of the way they've been going about things, the administration is unintentionally just really exacerbating the status quo.
Are there any outliers within the Lee administration or banks who are suggesting alternative options?
There are people within the Democratic Party who are saying that there should be a bit more supply, and and even the finance minister was trying to distance himself from some of the remarks that the president had made. The president, during one of his national housing debates, had said that there probably needs to be an increase in taxes for multiple homeowners by threefold. Now, when the National Assembly questioned the finance minister said, and the president said threefold, but he didn't really mean it. It was just a direction that we were supposed to head toward. And so we've already seen the finance minister walk back some of the president's remarks. But yeah, the president is isn't the driver's seat. He's the one who is pushing this forward, and other people are trying to slam on the brakes a little bit, but the president's still driving.
And this has been a problem for basically all South Korean presidents so far. So this problem itself isn't new. So yeah, shit, home. And next up, new U.S. ambassador to South Korea finally, and she somehow decided to do the press conference at the airport.
Yeah, but without any press. So, she arrived at Incheon Airport at 4 p.m., 20 to 30-second remarks on a robust ironclad alliance, yet she did not take any press questions.
So it wasn't a press conference, but it was like a door stepping, maybe.
What's a press conference without the press? Just a conference?
I guess so. But anyways, yeah, so we saw...
press was there, but Q&A wasn't there.
Yeah. And then she is the first ambassador since martial law, I believe. So January 2025 was the last time we had a Senate-approved U.S. ambassador in Philip Goldberg. Now,
wow, that was ages ago.
Yes, yeah. So now we have a new one under a very new administration under Trump. So she does come at quite a challenging moment. Kupang being one of them, and being at the epicenter. She will have to exercise her diplomacy and make sure that she expresses to the U.S. and also to the South Koreans of the U.S.'s concerns, or so-called concerns, over their treatment of Kupang and Meta, and also going forward with the joint fact sheet from October 2025.
Do American ambassadors even matter anymore? Foreign policy in the U.S. is determined by tweets, or Truth Social, rather. So, Donald Trump is the one who decides at any given moment, depending on how he feels, to implement foreign policy. Does Michelle Steele really have any role to play in this?
Yeah, no. I mean, it's a pretty big test of how much influence she actually has in Washington.
Or any ambassadors, really.
Is she just a figurehead? Is she just going to be just trumpeting what Trump says?
But ambassadors are also symbolic figures as well, and under any administration, really.
Of course, we'll see more reports of her schedule after her arrival. It does look like she's trying to give off and emphasize her Korean-American background, also her position on China, position on ROK-Japan cooperation, ROK-US alliance. So it's something that the Lee administration will have to work with.
Next up, military. Anything important?
Yeah, so we had quite a bit of noise on the front line. The JCS, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, they announced just yesterday evening that they will conduct an inspection of all frontline units, especially considering how much ammunition is being placed in the frontline machine guns.
Mm-hmm.
We received reports that the Army's First Corps had been operating K6 machine guns and also K4 machine guns, if I'm not mistaken, without any ammunition belts attached and placed on the side. Now, of course, there's
Sorry, what does that mean?
Right. So usually custom within military frontline units is that all machine guns should have ammunition belts attached, or they should be loaded, just to make sure that any sudden attack or sudden situation, they can do the first response quickly. Of course, there's safety precautions in front, but it does seem that the First Corps reportedly, but also very unilaterally, made the decision to take ammunition belts out. The JCS did not know, and the JCS only realized after media reports.
So basically, what the military really had were machine guns, which they could have only used, like if the North Koreans commandos had crossed the border, they would have had to pick up their machine guns and run up to the North Koreans to swing those machine guns like as though they were baseball bats.
Well, yeah, I guess that's one way of looking at it. But there is also a procedure where ammunition is on the side, where they can pick up the ammunition. But of course, the concern here is that it takes too long in a sudden attack moment. Anything can happen in a contingency or something that precedes a contingency. That's why there's a lot of concerns from experts that it was a unilateral decision by the First Corps, and there's a lack of oversight within the central command of the military, which is the JCS.
Week ahead, it's end of the month again, so our month in review is out, so check it out, and there will be a bunch of data coming out as well.
Yeah, and one of the numbers that we'll be looking at will be the Consumer Price Index that will be coming out on Tuesday, August 4th. Now, for those of you who've been paying attention, in June, the inflation numbers were 3.2% and core inflation was 2.5%. And so this is a lot higher than what the Bank of Korea is comfortable with. And so if these numbers continue to be high, the BOK is going to be meeting in August to determine what the next interest rate is going to be. Now, we just had the Federal Reserve have a rate freeze. And so is the BOK going to increase rates again because they want to really clamp down on inflation? We're not really quite sure. Right now, the Federal Reserve is being very cautious about trying to even signal what they want to do with the inflation numbers is going to really play a havoc on the BOK if it remains elevated when it comes out on Tuesday.
And Samsung Electronics, just a few hours before they released the second quarter earnings as well. And SK Hynix, we already mentioned. There are a bunch of others who are doing the same.
There was also Amazon, Meta, Intel in the US side. They've all announced really massive profits. But again, we've not
Which is weird, right?
Yeah, and we've not seen these profits translate to actual stock valuations maintaining high numbers. So, yeah. But besides American companies, Kakao and Naver will be also reporting their second quarter earnings. Those numbers will be coming out on Thursday and Friday, respectively.
And for the President, Lee Jae Myung is currently in Chile. He will be holding a Korea-Chile business roundtable on the 30th today, and the next stop will be Argentina, where he'll be meeting with the president, and he'll continue that trip until August 4th.
And all of this information will be sent to your email inbox or by Monday via the Week Ahead newsletter. So if you'd like to know more, please subscribe. Bye-bye.
And that's a wrap. Thanks for tuning in.
If you want to know more, sign up for our daily executive briefings. We'll brief you on all you need to know from the past 24 hours and why it matters, delivered to your inbox every morning.
If you want to stay ahead of the curve, sign up for Korea Pro to get a full package of insights, from daily expert analysis to profiles, month in review, week ahead, and more.
And until next time, I'm Jungmin Kim.
I'm Junho Park.
And I'm John Lee, and we'll see you next time on the Korea Pro Podcast.